everyone, long time no see. It's Natalie and I'm coming to you through video this month because I'd like to introduce you to another video contributor. But before I get to that, last month we talked a little bit about solo adventuring as a woman, and I shared my experiences and delighted in reading your experiences that you shared via the comments section. I was pleased to see that I was not alone in some of the things I thought about and worried about and experienced when I first started getting outdoors by myself. And I was also pleased to hear many of you had very different experiences and very different thoughts, feelings, and questions that you asked yourself. So I'm very happy that you all are talking and engaging in this conversation, and I think it's going to take us into a few really interesting places as the months carry on. So, female solo adventuring. That brings us to our guest this month. You probably already know her because she's already a very valued member of our community. Talking about Marinel de Jesus. She is also known as Brown Girl Trekker, and she is such an expert on adventuring that she leads other people on adventures in places like the Himalayas and South America. She's an excellent teacher, she's a fearless expedition leader, and she's a woman who often travels alone. In fact, her love of adventuring and travel led her to leave a life as a successful attorney and pursue another dream. So I was excited and stoked when she agreed to find some Wi-Fi, which, let me clarify, finding Wi-Fi was an adventure in and of itself for Marinel because she was in the mountains in a really remote location, and she ended up sending me videos through a cafe's Wi-Fi, and I think she had to like climb uphill both ways with a 50-pound pack. Just kidding. But it really was quite an adventure for her to get her video to us, and I'm very thankful for that. So without further ado, I would like to have Marinel speak for herself and tell you about her thoughts when it comes to adventuring. See you next month.
Hi, it's Marinel. I am participating in this little video webinar interview type thing with Ask Natalie, and I'm really happy to share my views on solo trekking, traveling. I'm actually in Santa Cruz Trek in Peru's Cordillera Blanca while I'm answering these questions, so I'm really excited because it's been raining all day and I now got the chance to sit down and share with you this experience. Behind me is the mountain. It's one of the peaks that you can enjoy on the trail, and I'm surrounded by other peaks here in our camp. So one question that I want to answer is, why did I start traveling solo, and what made me start the adventure of doing this? Actually, that's kind of a process because I think, like most of us, we want to go traveling, but sometimes we can't find people to go with, and and then we stop venturing out because we have no one to go with. I actually kind of felt like that was limiting my life, and realized that the world is such a big place. And I think my curiosity just took over, really, and realized that I have to do something on my own, where I don't have to depend on people. So I think in some aspects of my life, I've become more independent over time. And the fact that I've become more independent over time, that translated into my life of adventuring and trekking and traveling. So one day I just made a decision that, heck, if I could go solo to travel somewhere to a place because I have to see my friend get married, or if I go by myself every day to work or do some errands by myself, why can't I just go travel on my own solo? So that's kind of how it all started for me, and I realized that it kind of just evolved over time to more extreme stuff, but it was baby steps for me, and I did write a Huffington Post article on that as well, about mentally preparing yourself how to travel solo. So that actually touches upon taking baby steps. So the first time I did it for over 3 days, a period of a long weekend, and I think I did more city beach type of travel versus mountain trekking. And so I wanted to just see how I felt, whether I felt really nervous about it or scared, and what I can do the next time to make myself feel better. So that's how it all started for me, why I started doing it. I just really felt like I needed to break the boundaries. The self-limiting type mentality didn't really work for me anymore. So I decided, what the hell, life is too short. I really just gotta explore. If I want to see Bhutan or Nepal, Peru, Mongolia, then I just have to do it. So, and then that it just evolved from there. And the more I did it, the more I gained confidence, and the more I just, realized there's nothing to be afraid of. In essence, it's really not as solo as you may think it is, and that's really the myth that I want to break about it. So that is really how it started for me. Okay, so the other question that Natalie asked me is, what did I learn the most out of, or gain most about, from solo traveling? I have to say, I've been doing it for almost 20 years. I've done solo traveling on and off since I was in my 20s, and I'm really not one of the young ones here, but I actually learned so much from it that I kept doing it, to be honest. I think, to me, my solo traveling and trekking is a meditation. It's actually a way for me to connect to myself and find my voice and find what's true to me. And I know it sounds kind of cliche and cheesy and weird, but it's so true in my life that the more I did it, the more I gained a lot of clarity in terms of what I really want, apart from what everyone tells me what I should do with my life. As an example, I go through the period, like many women, of I should be getting married at a certain age, I should be doing this and that, I should have a family. Those are like voices that I had to live with. And because I travel solo, I actually find myself being able to evaluate those voices in my own time and space without influence. And I think that's very important, because when you finally just have yourself to talk with and have the opportunity to discuss ideas, you then find out for yourself what is true to you and what's authentic. And that's what happened to me. I made a decision clearly that having a family is not my thing, and adventuring is what I want and what makes me feel joy in my life. And I've been a lawyer for 15 years, and I quit my lawyer job 2 months ago in October of 2017 to become a mountain nomad. Exactly why I'm in Santa Cruz Trek in the Cordillera Blanca in Peru. That came from a clear voice in my heart and my head, and not from anyone else. And so to answer that question, it's really sort of it's a very deep-seated answer, to be honest, and it's campfire kind of talk, to be honest. If I have to answer that question, I think solo traveling is a meditation. It's a way to be able to hear the voice in your head and what you really, really want and desire. And because our lives are full of so many distractions, we don't get a chance to really find out for ourselves what we want and what we truly want in life, and maybe what our purpose is and our calling. So that's one of the most important things I've gained being a solo traveler and trekker. In terms of advice for women, I say fear is an illusion. No matter what fear you have about solo traveling, I challenge you to challenge your fear. I know that some people may do it and challenge themselves and realize it really is not for them, and that's fine. At least you get clarity. You never really lose on anything by venturing out and overcoming your fears or making the effort to do so. If in the end you realize solo traveling is boring, or it's just not for you, it's scary, it's too much work, then so be it. Then you know for sure that you don't have to waste any more of your time doing any solo type of stuff, right? So, but what if somehow it makes you soar and it makes you realize how beautiful the world is doing solo traveling and adventuring? What if it adds joy to your life like it did for me? So I want to challenge you to to just basically forget the fear for a second. Tell yourself it's an illusion, it's BS, it's not true. Because to be honest, it isn't true. It's something we tell ourselves based on what the outside is telling you. But think about it. If there's a part of you telling you to go travel by yourself, that may be the voice that I'm talking about, that you seldom hear because you're so distracted by the TV, by internet, by your friends, by everyone. Maybe you should for once listen to it. Maybe there is a reason why it's there. And exactly what I did. And now, 20 years later, I feel very just happy and content with that decision. So that would be my advice in terms of what the barrier would be and how to overcome it. Just go for it. Don't overthink it. Tell yourself it's just an illusion and you want to give it a shot and you want to try it for yourself to see if it's real or not. And if it's real, then let it be. You don't have to waste any more time doing solo travel. If it's not real, then welcome to the club. You should do more of it to add more adventure to your life. So I do want to share with you guys one favorite adventure travel that I've done. I actually did a 1 year away, 21 countries trekking solo by myself, and met some people along the way. And I guess it's going to be a hard question to answer, to be honest. But I think one of my favorite moments is actually wanting to, in Croatia, I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be nice to hike with a dog? I've been alone for a while, and I miss my pets back home, and I ended up actually getting my wish fulfilled. So in Croatia, I ended up pickpacking the third highest peak. I met a terrier dog at a mountain hut, and he just kept following me the whole time. I thought it was just for a short while, but he ended up pickpacking the third highest peak. We spent 13 hours, almost 13 hours that day. It was a long day. And it was a small dog. It was a terrier, and I thought it was just awesome. I realized at that moment that whatever we want, you can manifest it if you really want it. And, there are ways that the universe will give it to you if it's a true desire. So it's a very awesome moment. It was scary at times because I had to take care of the dog, but it was my favorite moment of all. So that would be one of the many, actually. So many other moments as a solo traveler. Okay, so tips that I have for women who wants to do solo adventuring and trekking. One, I did write a 8 ways to mentally prepare for solo adventure. You can go to browngaltrekker.com to get that link. Actually, maybe Natalie can actually post that. Also, Huffington Post article, I written one, and it's actually on camping for women. So definitely read that article because it does outline some great tips, 8 ways to mentally prepare. So that's where it starts, is actually mental. You have to be mentally okay venturing out, and from there the actions and the logistics are rather easy to follow. Other tips and advice, I say just go for it. Like I said, it's basically testing the waters for you. If it's your first time, you will never lose on anything. You will just gain more because you'll learn more about yourself, and you'll learn about how it's like to travel. It's going to expand your horizon. It's going to make you realize what you like and what you don't like, and that's always a good thing. So really, in terms of advice and tips, it's really not much to it, to be honest. It's just basically the idea that you have to just, you're never going to be fully prepared for it like any parts of your life. You just have to do it and just tell yourself, what the hell, I'm just going to go for it. And also check out the article. But also, I do want to tell you guys, if you're in the Washington, D.C. metro area, I teach Solo Travel 101. I teach Backpacking 101 for beginners. So that's another tip I would give you guys, is to take a class if you can in your area. I also want to add that because of the demand for this topic from people that I posted a few classes already in DC area and did it in a restaurant physically in a place for people in person teaching. I'm going to start looking into doing a webinar for it so that people can download the video, where I talk about the do's and don'ts as a solo traveler. I also will eventually, at some point in the next few months, post a webinar on Backpacking 101, which is much more information and longer information. So watch out for those things. Subscribe to browngulltrekker.com or peakexplorations.com. And one other tip, if you are still skeptical about being a solo adventurer, there's nothing wrong with joining groups of solo travelers. www.peakexplorations.com is the website for it. It's my social enterprise. It actually caters to the solo travelers who want to find some other people to go with, and it's perfect. That's exactly the solution to the problem sometimes, is putting the solo travelers together, the solo hikers together, so that you can meet others like yourself. I think it's an awesome segue to becoming a solo traveler one day and having, gaining the confidence and building up the skills and the ability and the knowledge. So I highly recommend that you join us via peakexplorations.com. We have treks all over the world, including Nepal, Peru, Mongolia, Kilimanjaro, South Africa. Next year we'll have India. We also have India sightseeing type stuff, and I'm going to add more beginner hikes and more beginner-friendly type of treks and sightseeing trips. There's a lot of good information there, so you guys better just check it out, because I can go on and on about it. So anyways, it was a pleasure to be part of the interview with Ask Natalie, and if you have questions, I'm always happy to answer questions about solo traveling and trekking, since I've been doing it and living it for 20 years. And now I am officially a mountain nomad, and I guess you could say it's like, you can call it solo mountain nomad kind of life, but it's amazing. Take care, everyone. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.